A lot of skeptics and anti-missionaries bring up the rooster that is mentioned in the New Testament, specifically when Yeshua tells Peter, "You will deny me 3 times before the rooster crows." Now, what's going on here? Was it really a rooster that was around during the time of the temple services, which would go against the Mishnah? Was this a law that was later added in? Or does the rooster possibly stand for something else? Today, we're going to take a closer look at the account in the book of Matthew, specifically chapter 26, verses 74 and 75. It says, "Then he began to curse and swear, saying, quote, 'I do not know that man.' And immediately a rooster crowed, and Peter remembered the statement that Jesus has made. 'Before a rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times.' And he wept out loud bitterly." Now, critics and anti-missionaries sometimes object to the story of Simon Peter's denial. Punctuated by the sound of a rooster crowing, contradicts the Jewish law that forbid keeping chickens in Jerusalem. Now, the Mishnah says, in empathetic terms, quote, "They do not raise chickens in Jerusalem on the account of the temple and holy things." Mishnah Bava Kama 7:7. The sages do not consider the smell of the chicken coop conducive to be exalted sanctuary of worship in the temple. Jewish tradition forbids praying within the wind of a privy or a chicken coop. Although the rule might not have actually been enforced in the Master's day, it does raise a question. Where was this rooster? Now, furthermore, when the Master told Simon, quote, "Before the rooster crows today," it seems to imply that the crowing of the rooster would occur at a fixed time. It is like saying, quote, "Before 6 a.m., you will do such and such." Now, anyone who has lived with roosters knows that the roosters crow when the roosters wake up, whether the sun has risen or not. Some roosters seem to regard 4 a.m. as an acceptable time for crowing. Now, while in the Mishnah denies that roosters crow at all in Jerusalem, it also refers to the time of a cock crowing in connection with the temple service as if it were an everyday fixed event. So this comes from Mishnah Yoma 1:8 and Mishnah Tamid 1:2. Quote, "Every day they take up the ashes from the altar at the cock's crow or near it, either before it or after it. And never did the cock crow before the courtyard was filled with masses of Israelites." In the days of the apostles, a man named Gibini served as the temple's crier. Now, legend has it that his voice carried as far as Jericho, Mishnah Yoma 3:8. Now, allowing for hyperbole, one should understand that Gibini had a loud voice. Before dawn, the temple crier occupied the highest point of the temple to watch for the first signs of daylight. Preparations for the morning sacrifice could not commence until the daylight appeared. Now, from his perch above the city, his eyes scanned the hills of the Jordan and the hill countryside of Judea. And the first light began to spread across the sky. He would call out, quote, "It is daylight. The whole eastern sky is lit." Now, the priest on duty that morning inquired, quote, "As far as Hebron?" And the crier responded, "As far as Hebron." Mishnah Yoma 3:3. Now, later, as the services commenced, he cried out again, quote, "Arise, ye priests, for your service, Levites to your platform, Israel to your positions." Yoma 20b. Now, in the Talmud, the rabbis explained the time of the cock's crow to be an idiom for the call of the temple crier. The Mishnatic Hebrew word for rooster or gavir can also mean man. So the rabbis came to the place of Rabbi Shiliah. There was no interpreter to stand next to Rabbi Shiliah and the interpreter of the Hebrew of the Mishnah. So the rabbi took the stand next to him and interpreted, quote, "the call of the rooster, Kiryat HaGevir, as the call of the man." Rabbi Shiliah said to him, "Why did you not interpret it as the call of the rooster?" Rav explained, "Play the flute for cultured people and when they appreciate it, but play it for weavers when they do not appreciate it. When I stood before Rabbi Chahir and interpreted Kayet HaGavir as the call of the man, he did not object to it and tell me to translate it as call of the rooster, Bioma 20b. Now, the palace of the high priest stood only a short distance from the temple, within easy earshot of the temple crier. The Jewish people referred to the crier's daily shouts at dawn as, quote, the rooster's call. Now, similarly, the Romans referred to their night watchmen marking off the watches as, quote, cock crowing. And we know this from Donald Wagner on his commentary of Matthew 14 through 28. This is volume 33. Now, perhaps Simon Peter's three denials should be imagined with the sound of the temple's crier cutting through the pre-dawn darkness, announcing that the time for the morning sacrifice had begun. And this is one of the most important things, especially when we're reading the New Testament. It's important to understand the idioms that they used back then and apply it to the text, whether implying our Western mindsets when we also read the New Testament. I hope this was beneficial for you and hope it also enlightened a new understanding and a new appreciation for the New Testament. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Shalom.